So we have some more Doctor Who 6th anniversary news, just completely out of the blue. Neil Patrick Harris joins Doctor Who. Now, I think once again, this was teased beforehand, maybe for like 15 minutes or half an hour or something, by one of those now infamous little Instagram posts over on RTD's Instagram of like 2 hearts plus, I think, a diamond this time. There's always different emojis in there for each casting announcement. But yeah, I was just doing something different when that was all happening over on Twitter, and I hadn't checked Twitter for a while. So the first I heard of this was when there was a sound just like that on my phone for a notification from Twitter. That's the first I heard of this, so incredibly out of the blue. I hadn't been keeping up with any of the speculation or anything in the lead up to the announcement itself. But yeah, Neil Patrick Harris is somebody that I know of very vaguely from It's a Sin, one of Russell's most recent shows. But I think beyond that, he is maybe quite a big name as well, outside of that, obviously. He's an American actor, singer, writer, producer, and television host. What's he most famous for? How I Met Your Mother, A Series of Unfortunate Events, Doogie Howser. None of these are things that I've watched myself, but yeah, there we go. So he's been in some stuff, basically. I imagine people watching this may or may not know more about him than I do. If you do, then let me know in the comments, what his pedigree is, what he's like. But yeah, the press release goes like this. Emmy and Tony winning actor, so he's won some awards, that's good, and comedian Neil Patrick Harris joins the cast of Doctor Who. Neil Patrick Harris, American star of stage and screen, has joined the cast of Doctor Who, and here we go, this now infamous phrase again, and is currently filming scenes set to air in 2023 as part of the show's 60th anniversary. What that means, who knows at this point, to be honest. I mean, they've used the same phrase every single time, for like Yasmin Finney, for David Tennant and Catherine Tate. What does it mean? How many episodes are there? How many specials? Who knows? But that's all we know so far. There's a lovely photo of him here, and then a very brief quote this time from Russell himself, saying, "It's my huge honour to open our studio doors for the mighty Neil Patrick Harris. But who, why, what is he playing? You'll just have to wait. But I promise you, the stuff we're shooting now is off the scale. Doctor, beware." Interesting, lots of questions surrounding this. I mean, is it another case of them getting ahead of the game in terms of like an actor being spotted on location? Because I think there is some stuff coming up this week, possibly in Bristol, maybe, I want to say. So maybe we're going to be seeing Neil Patrick Harris on the streets of Bristol doing his stuff, with David Tennant or whatever. I mean, Russell does use the phrase, "It's a huge honour to open our studio doors," which, it could be a turn of phrase, or it could mean that they're doing all this, behind closed doors and not on location. It's anyone's guess, really. But I think one of the interesting things about this that a lot of people will be sort of speculating about is that obviously we've just had this week of night shoots in Cardiff with one or two familiar faces or monsters or creatures or whatever you want to call them from the comic strips. And I have covered all that stuff already, so do go and watch the video if you haven't already. But yeah, it basically seems to be all but confirmed that comic strip villain Beep the Meep will be appearing for the first time, in the flesh on television for the anniversary next year. So could Neil Patrick Harris be voicing Beep the Meep? Or could this be something else entirely? I mean, I don't know what Beep the Meep is meant to sound like. I mean, actually, come to think of it, I think one of the comic strips featuring Beep the Meep was actually adapted by Big Finish a few years back. So it would seem that Beep the Meep has already been given a voice, so to speak. I don't know what actor played Beep the Meep in that particular instance, and whether they sound anything like Neil Patrick Harris or vice versa. So basically, it is all just speculation at this stage. I mean, one thing I would say, I don't know this guy particularly well myself, as I've said already in this video, but from the photo they've got of him here, and just from the general vibe I get, obviously he's quite a big name. It wouldn't really make sense, in that regard, to just have him voicing a character, if you get what I mean. Like, it would make more sense to have him actually appearing in the flesh. I mean, in this photo they've got of him here, he looks very striking there, that look on his face. So I would be surprised on the one hand if they didn't have him appear in the flesh, like I say. I suppose on the other hand, it would make sense, because this is such a big name, if it was just a voice only part, because, you know, it would be less for them to do, it would cost less or whatever. So, you know, two sides to this. I think personally I would prefer for this to be something separate to Beep the Meep, although it is kind of tempting to speculate and to kind of put two and two together there and say that it is the same thing. But maybe that's what they want us to think. But then again, maybe by showing us this very striking photo of him in the article, maybe they want us to think that he's appearing in person and he's not. In fact, actually, I'm just going to record an extra little bit here. I have finished the main recording. I'm coming back because I've just been looking around on Twitter, and it seems the consensus is this isn't actually a photo of him in a previous role, but it's how he's going to be appearing, you know, in character in Doctor Who. Which actually would put a different spin on this, perhaps, because, you know, if that is the case, well, very clearly he's not playing Beep the Meep. But my reaction immediately to seeing him in this costume, if this is the character in Doctor Who, is that he's playing the Celestial Toymaker. Now, don't ask me how, don't ask me why, don't ask me, you know, anything like that. I mean, there have been rumours about, like, the Land of Fiction with Beep the Meep and all this stuff going on, and it would explain, like, all the weird wackiness from, you know, David Tennant's new costume and all this weird stuff we've seen in filming. But yeah, actually, you know, come to think of it, if this is him in character, there is something about this image that kind of screams to me Celestial Toymaker. And like I say, don't ask me how, don't ask me why, don't make me explain it. It just does. I mean, it kind of reminds me of a character you'd get, like, say, in a Christmas film, where it's set in Santa's workshop, and you've got all these, like, elves and all these, like, workers making toys and stuff. You know what I mean? It just looks like a toy maker in a workshop. It kind of reminds me of that. And then it's not too much of a leap, you know, to go from that to Doctor Who's own toy maker, the Celestial Toymaker. So that is sort of my line of thinking there, I suppose, sort of where I'm coming from. I mean, it could be a load of rubbish. It really could. But yeah, that is my gut instinct. And if it's true, and if this is actually the Celestial Toymaker back after all these years, then that is hugely, hugely exciting. So yes, please let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments section below. Please do leave a like on this video if you have enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already for more videos like this in the future. And if you want to go on a step further, the link to my Patreon page is in the video description. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye for now.